we are live. Hi, my name is Megan, and I am one of the founders, or I am the founder behind Florentis Learning. And I am super, super excited to be here today with everyone. And I'm hoping that we will have lots of questions and I will be able to really help you master and simplify the process of converting those trials. So we'll just give people a second just to join. I think we've got a few people on. And so if you're here, just say hello, leave me a comment in the chat. And I'd love to know who's here. And if you are a new teacher, an experienced teacher, if you've tried Florentis Learning, all of those things. So really, while we're doing that, I'll just do a little bit of an introduction. So today we're going to talk about this comprehensive guide and the tools available to really help you master trial lessons with new ESL students. And I'm going to help you take those trial lessons and transform them into successful student conversions with Florentis Learning. So a little bit about who I am. Oh, okay. Thank you, Lori. The link didn't work for the laptop. All right. Hopefully other people will find us. So a little bit about who I am. So my name's Megan. I have been teaching online since 2017, and I am a licensed Canadian classroom teacher. And I have a master's of education in curriculum studies. And when I did my master's degree, all of my research focused around best practices in online teaching and learning and gamification. So I love teaching online and figuring out how to make lessons super exciting and engaging for students. So I see we've got a couple of people here. I see Lacey's here and Lori's here. Thank you both so much for joining. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat as we're going along. And so without too much further ado, let's sort of dive into it. So why do trial lessons fail? Trial lessons fail because of many reasons. They also sometimes go really well. It sort of depends. But many teachers do struggle with this trial lesson conversion because they approach them just with, oh, I'm going to go meet the student and we're going to have a chat or a conversation. Maybe I will pull out something from this book or from that, and we're just going to, have some fun and see how it works. But parents are looking for more than just a fun experience. They want evidence that the teacher that they're looking to purchase lessons from has a plan, that it isn't just there for entertainment, but that their child is going to move ahead and advance as a result of taking lessons with you. And so if you don't tell parents and articulate clearly for them what the student will achieve by taking your lessons, parents can't visualize what happens if they do. They can't visualize that value. They can't see, oh yes, in 15 weeks, my child will be able to do this. They are relying on you as the teacher to be able to convey that information for them, to share that information. So trial lessons that sort of feel like, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to pull this out or I'm going to pull this out, they immediately signal to that parent that unprofessionalism. It's like, oh, well, if this is how they are in a trial lesson, is this how they're going to be when we actually have class? And while they want their child to have fun and they want their child to like the teacher, they also want to see that these fun activities really serve learning objectives. And that is one of the hardest things to do. It's really hard to sort of take all that information and tie it all together. And so setting those short and long-term goals. What is achievable? but ambitious enough that the parents feel that they're going to get something out of this. What will align with the student needs? That requires expertise, careful consideration, thought, and planning. But in order to even set those short and long-term goals, you've got to be able to get really good information from your students in the first place in that 25 minutes that you have with them during that trial lesson. It's also challenging to sort of match goals and levels and schedules. It's like, oh, okay, they're going to take one class a week. Well, a student who's taking one class a week obviously is not going to make the same progress as a student that's taking 3 classes a week. And if a student is needing to improve general English, that's a different goal than they want to improve their writing or they want to improve their speaking skills. And if someone says, oh, well, I just want my child to improve their speaking, you and I all know that in order for them to improve their speaking, chances are they need to develop vocabulary, chances are they need to develop some grammatical skills. So it's more than just straight up speaking lessons as well. And then the hardest part really is then to communicate this strategy to parents in a way that is accessible. Keeping in mind that most of the parents that we deal with often speak English as a second language or don't speak English at all. So they're relying on the translation of WeChat to, tell them what it is that you just said. And so figuring out how to sort of communicate this is certainly a delicate balance. So what I have today really that we're going to work through is sort of this proven framework. Assess, plan, and impress. It's 3 steps. It's simple, it's repeatable, it's effective. And I've taught many, many trial lessons and had lots of students convert and purchase lessons. I did a trial lesson this morning who has purchased, and I did 2, 3 last week, all of whom have also purchased some classes. So it's really important to think about, how am I going to assess? What is my plan going to be? And then how do I impress the parent? And how do I impress them from the time that we start the trial lesson all the way through to making that sale and then beyond? So step 1 is assess. And so Florentis Learning offers a free placement assessment. And this placement assessment is available whether you are a Florentis Learning user or not. You are welcome to drop in to grab it. The placement assessment is designed to be super interactive, and it assesses students to between pre-A1 and really up to B2 language levels. And it really helps you know their language level. It works. I've tweaked it. I know other teachers who've used it and it works. And they've had a lot of success, especially when you talk to experienced teachers who've used it and they're like, yeah, actually it did help me accurately place my student. This morning I had a student who was a trial, and I really didn't know a lot about them other than they were 8. The parent speaks no English. They want them to improve their English, right? So it's just this general English goal. They've been taking some lessons, but, not really clear sort of what level they were at. They weren't, it wasn't like, oh, we were using this lesson or this material or anything like that. So it really was going in blind. And so I pulled open the placement assessment and worked through questions with them until I got a couple of questions wrong. And then I'm like, yeah, you know what? This is, I think, sort of their level. And then I use that information to jump over into one of the Florentis Learning Level 2 lessons. And we did not all of the Level 2 lesson because, of course, I had spent time on the placement assessment, but we certainly did some of it. And it was perfect. The level worked out well. The student worked out well. Everything sort of open. The student started speaking. So it was a really great experience. It helped me clarify their strengths and weaknesses. So, they didn't know, for instance, the word tennis. When I asked them about what they played with their friends, they couldn't really, explain that to me. But if I asked if they went to the park with their friends, very much yes or no questions, they could. So, it was something that in very little time, I was able to get the information that I needed to then switch over into a lesson that was the appropriate level. So, it also helps you to get, if the parents have just said, oh, they just need general English, it also helps you to identify some of the goals that may work for the student. And I am going to show you this. So I think I'll run through the first sort of set of slides, and then I'm going to jump into all of the tools. And then we don't have to do quite as much sort of switching back and forth. The second step, which of course we have tools for as well, is this plan. And the professional learning plan really gives you that roadmap. It includes your short and long-term goals. It matches your class to your class frequency. Are they taking 2 lessons a week, 3 lessons a week? And it really helps parents see where you are going with their student and with their child. So it is a critical part. This is, after you finish that placement lesson and you're sitting down and, you really have to figure out, where am I going? What am I doing? The challenge with this is that it's time consuming. And if you have kids at home, right now it's the summer, so they're running around like crazy people. If you have other students you're getting from your trial lesson right into your next class, you don't necessarily have the time to spend a lot of time on this, but you still want to do something that is really professional. And so I have 2 things to sort of help you with this. We've got a template that you'll put everything into, and also a really super cool brand new tool that will actually help to write those learning objectives and the feedback and all of those pieces for you. And so you will want to grab that with the free placement assessment. And I have just dropped that into the chat, but you can get it at florentislearning.ca. If you then go and click on courses, you'll see the placement assessment, or you can just click on the link that I dropped in the chat as well. So all of those tools, and we're going to go there in a few minutes, are contained in this placement assessment, including our learning plan. So as I said, we've got this tool that's going to help you generate all that information, and then we've got a learning plan template that you can put it into. And this is super easy to customize. It's built in Canva, so you can literally take a copy of it and use it with your information. It is a nice professional layout. It's going to make you look good. It has a little space for you to customize or to adjust it how you want. But it also has space for those clear goals that parents are going to understand. And so I think with that, what I will do now is I'm just going to switch screens here, and we will go into our demo. I'm going to pull up the demo, and I'll come back to the rest of the slides in a few minutes. So let's take a look at the actual materials. So how can we do this? How is it easy? If you have questions, by all means, drop them in the chat. I'm happy to answer any questions. So let me just, where's my share again? All right, so, okay, so when you go to the website, if you click just on courses at the top, you will see the placement assessment. And if you haven't signed up, you'll have an Enroll Now button. Just click the Enroll Now button, enter your name and your information, and you're ready to go. I'm already logged in, and I have a slightly different menu at the top because I am logged in. And I'm just going to go in and just start the placement assessment. So once we load the placement assessment, what you will see is you actually have a few options. So there's some tips for success and sort of just some information about the placement assessment itself. But let's take a look at that first step. So the first step I said was assess. And so to do that, you have a choice of 2 tools. If you are doing general English or speaking lessons or anything like that, I would recommend that you use the general English assessment. If you are doing a writing assessment, the student is going to be taking writing classes, then I recommend that you actually switch over and use the writing assessment instead. And so the placement assessment, you can see on the screen, there's 3 dots down here. Oh, they're hidden behind my head. Let me just scroll up a bit. There's 3 dots down here in the bottom corner. If you click those 3 dots, you will have the double arrow. You can open that and expand it. So as you can see right now, if I was sharing this with my student, it looks super clean and professional. I'm going to actually put my student's name in here. So I'll use my student from this morning. I'm going to put my name in here, and she was a girl, it was Sophia. So I'm going to choose Sophia. Now, one of the cool things about this, and we're just going to skip over the sort of the instructions that are there for you, is if you choose that she's a girl and put her name in, you will get the screen that says, "Hello, Sophia," with a girl. If you choose a boy on the front screen, you will get a boy on the screen. And if you don't put a name in, it will say hello null. So highly recommend that you type in the student's name. And each time you use it, you'll have to type a name in. It doesn't remember it. Then we've got this self-introduction. And so this is sort of fun. There are just a bunch of questions, and you can click on them. You're probably not going to use all 8 of them. And what you're going to find is that as your student improve, as you get to know your student, right, you are going to be like, yeah, no, that's enough. That's enough questions. I know where I need to be. And the reason that you're asking these questions is you'll notice that you have these tabs on the side for pre-A1, A1, A2, and B1. And if they get through all 8 questions, you probably don't need to do the pre-A1 questions. But if they can't do all 8 of the questions, then you definitely should start on pre-A1, but you don't have to. So what's the weather like? This is a pre-A1 question, right? It's already in there. So what's today's date, a day and date, and what's your favorite animal? So we've got all 8 questions. As you can see, they get more difficult. And as I said, don't necessarily need to use all of them. Use the ones that you want. If you have been in and sort of looked at them in advance, you'll be like, oh, okay, I just want to use the first 4, and I'm gonna keep going. So that is sort of the self-introduction, and we're gonna take a bit of a flip through to see some of these screens. So you'll see here, what is the weather? And the student at a pre-A1 level can respond with a sentence or with just one word. So they might say, it's sunny. You'll also notice if you're using a co-browser such as Koala Go, the students will be able to click on these themselves, and it gives you an indication. So if all of a sudden the student is getting in there and clicking on things right away, you also know they have some reading skills already because they can find their answers. You're going to continue through the questions, and what you'll see is, what's this? It's a watermelon. What's this? It's a cow. And, what room is this? So if for people who've taught pre-A1 students, these are all, big time pre-A1 type vocabulary. Labeling the body parts, this one, you just drag them down. So what I did this morning, and there is a pen up in the corner of Gina Lee Lessons, and this is available in all of the Florentis lessons. Just click on the pen, and I was circling. I'm like, what's this? And she'd be like, ear. And then I drag them for her. But it's completely up to you. You can drag them, or the student can drag them if you're using a co-browser. And we have like how many candles. So, the students need to know the word candles. They also need to be able to count to get to the 5. So that is something to keep in mind as well. We're getting into another labeling one around labeling the clothes, but also getting in glasses here. And then this is a listening activity. So they're listening, and it says the robot is on the bed. And this is where my student this morning started to struggle, right? It was like, I said, and she's like, no. And I said, circle the robot. And she circled the robot, right? And so she knew robot, but she didn't know bed, and or she didn't know on, because she thought that this answer was no, even though the robot is on the bed. This one also that she struggled with, she didn't know tennis. She couldn't identify this. And I'm like, okay, we've hit 2. This is sort of starting to suggest to me that we've determined our level, right? And then what do you play with friends? She wasn't really able to answer this. And I was like, okay, definitely she's pre-A1. I know where I'm at. If I jump down here to the results, so based on that, I can say, okay, pre-A1, and really we're looking at, okay, she was in that 7 to 12. I jumped into the level 2 lessons, and it was perfect for her because she was able to do the first few, no problems. So you don't need to do the whole thing, but keep in mind the score, because you're going to need that in a few minutes when you get to your learning plan generator. You don't need it, but it's better if you have it. And just so that people can have a bit of an idea, you also can, try a couple of the A1 questions just to confirm, which I was able to, right? We got here and she couldn't tell me whether it was going, go, or goes. She told me she going to school every day, right? So, it was just that further confirmation. The same thing with watch versus watches and the spelling. So you can see that we get into the questions change in difficulty. We've got comparisons, we've got, possessives. We have, some conversation-based stuff. So more listening. So this works through, there's questions for each of the levels. I'm going to just jump down to A2 and give people an idea of that. And so past tense is in here. We see, another verb tense working here with present continuous. Some more, some future tense, and picking up on that keyword with tomorrow, right? On a past tense question, and then choosing the correct vocabulary words for A and B. So you can see very quickly this challenge increases. This is a reading activity. There's reading also in A1. I just didn't show you guys that. So you're reading this little email and then choosing the correct answer. And there's a little bit of a story and a question to answer on that. And we've got a dancing monkey, which is just for fun. And then again, getting into all of those skills. So the reading, the listening, the grammar, the vocabulary, speaking, we're targeting all of those things. This has a couple of listening activities, and then we're into speaking. So we're talking about routines, we're talking about hobbies and what they like. And this is another point to check in. So again, if you've hit that 2 or 3 error range, it's time to stop. If your student gets into B1, and as I said at the beginning, those first questions I've talked about are going to help me decide where I'm going. I might not have any I might not have even covered the pre-A1 questions or the A1 questions. I might have jumped ahead depending on what I know. So again, this is a reading activity. This reading activity is very similar to what people would see on the Cambridge English exam. And so all of the questions and everything that we're sort of doing is very aligned. All of the Florentis learning lessons, I've made a really, really strong effort to ensure that we align vocabulary, but also that we give students exposure to the types of questions that they see on the exams. Because interestingly enough, people are like, oh yeah, like my student did really well in the speaking and the listening, or the speaking and the writing, but they didn't do well in the listening and they didn't do well in the reading, and they can read really well. And it's usually because they just don't have exposure to those types of questions. And so you'll notice that the reading questions and the reading types, especially as you move up in the levels, they're a little bit different than what you might be familiar with seeing. And it is specifically to get it at some of those types of questions that they'll see on a Cambridge exam. And so this is our B1 questions, and there's some more. Anyway, as you can see, you then take your score, you figure out your level. Okay. Now, This is only the first part. So this is what you're doing with your student, and then you're jumping into a lesson. The next part that is super cool, and right here is your template. So you'll just click on that button and download your template. And you'll notice that you get both templates. So you're going to get in the same file, you're going to get the regular template, and you're going to get the writing assessment template. So make sure you grab those. I might move them out to the side. Actually, I'll show you the writing assessment just very quickly. Again, keep in mind, you want to go to that full screen for that experience. It has the same thing where you're putting in the student's name. And this one is a little bit different in that we are talking about parts of speech, nouns and verbs. There's some instructions down here for you as the teacher in terms of teacher tips and how much help you can give the student. And then we're asking them to name some adjectives. We're asking them to identify proper nouns. And then we're into a writing task. And so, 5 to 7 sentences about one of these topics. You can use a whiteboard. You can use the chat. You can do it however you want to do that. And then here are the types of things that you're looking for at this level: creativity, imagination, use of transition words, descriptive language, consistency in verb tense. And you're going to see that actually on the rubric. So I'm just going to go up here to the menu, and I'm just going to jump to the results tab of this one. And here you'll see here's your rubric. So for task 1, you're only using criteria 1 to 3. For task 2, you're using criteria 1 to 4. And for task 3, which is our highest level, you're using criteria 1 to 6 to assess their evaluation. And there are 3 writing tasks in this. So if you're someone who teaches writing and you're looking for something that is going to really set you apart from other people, it's it's going to really establish a very professional look and feel for you in that trial lesson and help you impress the parents, then by all means try out the writing assessment. Again, that is available for free. All of the resources that I'm showing you right now are available for free from Florentis Learning. Now, the piece that everyone has been waiting for and that everyone should have been waiting for is the super, super cool part. I'm really excited about this. And what this is this is what makes filling out that template in Canva easy. Okay. This is what is going to save you time and give you time to spend with family, to do things that are fun, to exercise so that you're not spending all of your time at your desk. This thing is super cool. And I know Lacey's here, and I have to thank her because she's seen a preview of this. And she's like, well, I wish it could do this, or I wish it could do this. So one of the things she asked for was the feedback piece, and one of the things she asked for was the pronouns. And so what you'll notice actually is this is going to give you sort of everything as a starting point. And so I am going to put in Sophia, and Sophia is she, her. And Sophia's score this morning was 11. And so she's pre-A1. Her parents' sort of goal, or their overall goal, is really they're looking for her to improve her conversation skills, but ultimately it's about improving everything. She's taking 2 lessons a week. And I'm going to just use this, my judgment, to rate these. So speaking, I would say, was about a 2. Listening was a 2. Both of those aren't, super strong. She did a decent job of reading. I'm going to leave that at a 3. And she was not assessed on her writing. Excellent, Lacey. So I can't wait to hear how your trial goes and how the learning plan generator goes. So that just took us a minute to fill out. Now this is the cool part. I'm going to hit the button, and here we go. We're going to hit the button. We're going to generate the plan. Please don't tell me you're not working at the moment. I did something. Okay, just a second. I have a backup. Just give me 2 seconds. I will figure out what's happening there in a second, but I'm just going to come here and preview it with you. So I'm going to show you again. So Sophia and 11, and she is pre-A1. You'll also notice that it suggests her level here. It suggests her level is level 2, unit 1, and if we want to improve conversation, she's taking 2 lessons a week. I'm going to give her a 2 on speaking, a 2 on listening, a 3 on reading, and I'm going to mark her writing is not assessed. And I'm going to hit the button, and I will double check after the webinar what happened with my other one, because it was working. I will fix it. You'll notice right here we have this right here, feedback. So you'll notice, nicely enough, it has her name in here. So Sophia is in here, right? And it will go through and it will adjust that. We also have recommended curriculum. So we're looking at a core focus. So for her pre-A1, and then let's speak beginner. So with Florentis Learning, we have both core English classes, but we also have lessons that are ready for conversation. And so for her, we can introduce some beginner conversation classes. We also have some short-term goals. Now, you're not going to use all of these, but I'm going to look and say, okay, I've got 6 different options here. And parents aren't really interested in writing, but I want them to be able to use simple phrases and sentences to describe where I live and the people I know. Yeah, that is a great one, right? And because we're focused on speaking, I also want to ask and answer simple questions in areas of immediate need or on very familiar topics. So those are the 2 things that I'm probably going to do. And then our long-term goal is to advance to A1. So our suggested weekly lesson mix is 1 core lesson and 1 supplemental speaking lesson a week. So what do we do with this? So what we're going to do is we're going to literally take this. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to come over to the learning plan, and I would be pasting it in. So I will literally paste it in to the screen, and I'm just going to open it in my Canva instead of that one, so that we can see it. And everything, so obviously because you're copying and pasting, everything is editable, and you can adjust the feedback, you can adjust the goals, but at least it gives you something to get started with. And I will double check my code. There's something, I do apologize. I see, Laura, you're in there. I will double check and see. I know it was working for me yesterday, so I will just double check what I might have done to break it. Right, so here you can see I have both, and in this case I'm going to use the top one because it is a general English. I'm going to make it bigger for us. Let me get rid of this. That's a little bit gigantic. Let me hide that. Okay. Come on, go smaller. Canva. Okay, that's a little better. I wanted to make it there. That's perfect. Okay. So some of this information you're just going to fill in. So if I was filling in this, I would fill in Sophia, and Sophia is 8. And her parents told me that she wanted her to improve speaking. And she speaks Chinese. And her score was 11. She is pre-A1. She is working towards the starters exam, which you can pull off your placement assessment. And we're going to put her in level 2, unit 1. And if I scroll down here, I'm going to just put in that goal that I copied over. And there it is. And I am just going to slip back to my other screen and grab some other pieces. But I will double check what's going on because I know we've tested it already. I'm going to take her long-term goal and come on, put that up here. So her long-term goal, I will put in down here. And I am going to also pull the feedback off of that. Now, what I would recommend with this is that you actually take it and customize it. Put your tutor information on it, your name, all of your contact information, obviously, so that students and parents know how to find you, because they might not immediately display screen sharing. Thank you, Lori. All right. And so here is the learning plan template. And so you can just copy and paste your information in. Obviously, update this information. I like to have a copy with my information on it, and replace the black head, of course, with a nice picture of yourself. And you are ready to go. So the learning plan, you can just then take a screenshot of it and send it to the parents as a picture. And that's that. So I am going to, sorry, I wasn't sharing that when I was copying and pasting, but I will switch back just to my presentation. So as you can see, the learning plan is pretty easy to, oh, I wasn't sharing the entire screen. Okay, pretty easy to customize. You can get your information very quickly and really have something that is going to impress the parents. So let me just, we saw this screen. Let's just jump down. So we talked about the goal setting tool. And so you're going to enter the information, you're going to adjust your numbers on your strengths and weaknesses, and then you will get your feedback and suggested goals. So in terms of impressing, you've completed your assessment, you've completed your plan, and you've delivered your lesson, which impresses the parents. You're going to show the parents the learning plan with your roadmap, making sure that they know where you are intending to take their student, and then outline what happens next. So if they decide to continue, then you can share your information on scheduling or immediate learning objectives. All of my screen sharing just disappeared altogether. Let's try again. Let's go entire screen. See if that works. Sorry, I'm not sure why we're disappearing. Okay, it has stopped. So in terms of Florentis Learning, so obviously you want to grab that free placement tool package with the assessment, with the writing assessment, with the learning plan templates, and with the, there we go, and with the learning plan generator tool. So what do we offer? We offer a complete ESL curriculum. There are 6 levels. There are over 320 lessons. We're adding about a unit a week. So this week we added a level 2 unit called My Extended Family. There are 3 levels of conversation lessons, and I do routinely teach conversation lessons each week. So we do add to the conversation lessons as well. However, I'm also always looking for ideas. So if you're like, you know what, I would love to have a lesson on this topic, by all means, send me a note. You can reach us at hello@florentislearning.ca, or you can find me. You can send us a note through the Facebook page, and I can build an additional conversation lesson and add it in for you. The nice thing is that it gives me an idea what I can do with one of my lessons as well. And then all of our lessons are very, very interactive. So you'll see a picture here of this monster. So this is one, if you're using a co-browser, the student literally takes the monster, reads the word, and drags it along and hops along the tree stumps. And I have resources and games. So if you need something to fill time, then you have lots of time fillers. There's a word search generator. There is an activity with speaking prompts or writing prompts. There is a spelling game. So there's lots of games there that you can use. You can get all of these placement set tools that we saw today. They are free. They are available to you. You just go to Florentis Learning and sign up. You'll get the assessments, you'll get the learning plan template, and you'll get your goal setting tool. If anyone has any questions, if anyone has any feedback, I would love to hear it. I certainly appreciate everyone joining me today. And if you are interested in our curriculum and everything that we have to offer, we have a founding rate on right now. It's $9.99 a month, or you can purchase actually a lifetime membership and get everything that we add for one fee. And so that is just, I will drop the link to that in the chat as well, but it's at florentislearning.ca or .com will take you there too. And I am super, super excited about this. My students have been loving the lessons. They are, really enjoying the interactivity, and, they're super engaged. In terms of the feedback, all of our lessons have built-in feedback. So not just a template that you have to type in, but literally you can copy and paste feedback. And I'll do a webinar probably in the next couple of weeks and show you that feedback, or even I'll just do a video and show you that little feedback tool. But it is, you get to the end of the lesson, there is your feedback sheet. You click a button, you copy and paste your feedback, you put it into the box, you change the name and the pronouns. And yes, Lori, we absolutely can. And everything is there for you. So as I said, it is, it's been a real labor of love. We're adding lots, but I also would love your feedback. So if you have ideas, if you're like, oh, I wish I had this, I need this, we would like to have more lessons on this, this lesson, it worked really well for me. I want to hear all of that. So send me a note, and happy to chat. Thank you, everyone. The links for the free tools, the placement assessments and everything are in the chat, and I'll put them in the description box for the video. And if you aren't sure yet about Florentis Learning, sign up also for our free sample pack, and you can get some of our lessons for free. Thank you all, and don't forget to like and subscribe for my next webinar.